Welcome! You must have come here after the first video. If you are just seeing this for the first time, there is a previous video. The link is in the comment section. You would love to see that too because all bombshells were dropped in the first video. Here, it's time for their explosion. The bombs were the A-list pals mentioned in the document, and the explosion now is, did Jeffrey Epstein's A-list pals know about his dark secrets? All names mentioned will be scrutinized, each of their connections to Epstein, and finally piece together the disturbing puzzle of his alleged sex trafficking network. This is about to get real. It's about holding powerful people accountable and exposing the systems that allowed Epstein to operate for so long. Tag along, buddies. Don't miss a second. Remember that Epstein started at Dalton School in 1974, where he first showed an amorous interest in the underage high school female students, appearing in their exclusive parties and being more than just a teacher to them. Yet it was not until 2005 that the first woman would report the abuse of her 14-year-old daughter, which kicked off the police investigation on Epstein and eventually discovered 36 other similar cases traced to him. That was a whole 31-year interval. Could it be that he was good at hiding his crimes, or were there aids and abets? The most eyebrow-raising moment was, after he was found out and the case thrown to the court, he was discharged of the major charges and pleaded guilty only to minor ones, which had him register as a sex offender, a year and a month in jail time, but with an intermittent work release. It was termed a sweetheart deal. A commentator said, "No one could look at this and say it is right, but it happened anyway." Little wonder he finished his jail time, but not as a changed person. Instead, moved into sex trafficking fully. He thrived in the trafficking business until 2019 when he was arrested again, now with a federal charge. This got the public eyes popping wide and piercing into the judiciary, and left them no choice but to shut out the option of granting him bail. Then, suddenly he dies, just before he would be tried. Although it has been termed a suicide, really it comes off as someone trying to shut him up. Someone who is involved but doesn't want to go down with him, which could happen if Epstein appeared in court. It is no secret that Epstein had a high social circle among which he ran his sex trafficking business under the cover of massage. The masses clamor that this is one of the worst webs of corruption in American society. Thankfully, many of the victims are not backing down any sooner, determined that suicide won't end the story. He is dead, but his cohorts are out there walking free, Jeffrey said. It's only right that every accomplice goes down with him. So they have been responsible for calling out alleged cohorts in the law court. Their most charged person is Prince Andrew, Queen Elizabeth's son.
The Monday morning headlines say it all. Prince Andrew's attempt to explain his friendship with accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein backfiring.
You've been on his private plane.
Yes.
You've been to stay on his private island.
Yes.
You've stayed at his home in Palm Beach.
Yes.
His friendship with Epstein dates back to 1999, and when Epstein got arrested in 2019, the Duke of York took to writing many statements regarding their friendship, alongside calling Andrew for interviews. In one of the published recorded interviews, Andrew stated that he did not regret his friendship with Epstein even till that moment. That sparked public criticism so intense that Andrew thought it wise to voluntarily step down from his royal duties. Eventually, his court charge came in 2021, sued by Virginia Robert Jeffrey on sexual abuse related to Epstein's trafficking. However, he denied this severally, and finally got the court hook off his neck in 2022. But his language had changed now. He now said he regrets his friendship with Epstein, claiming he had just become aware of the wrongdoings of his late friend. Unfortunately, the hook was not gone from his neck for long. 2 years later, the Unsealed documents uncovered a story bringing never-before-seen photos of his friendship with Epstein to light. Andrew was back to defending himself again. He said he had not seen, witnessed, or even suspected any behavior that Epstein was into sexual abuse. But Jeffrey maintains that he knows exactly what he has done and hopes he comes clean about it. We hope so too. The next name is Ghislaine Maxwell. She was the closest of Epstein's pals, precisely his girlfriend and a forerunner of his sex trafficking business. She introduced Andrew to Epstein in 1999, which sparked off the friendship. Ghislaine is of high social status due to her father being a media mogul, so she met Epstein in 1991 through a mutual friend. They became a thing and were together in many social meetings or gatherings. Ghislaine flew in Epstein's jet, sleeping in his home before finally settling on a $5 million grand in New York. Their friendship was on a clean slate until 1994 when she helped Epstein lure Annie Farmer to his ranch in Mexico. It was the first of the help she would give Epstein on sexual abuse. She had insisted on giving Annie a massage, while in the process, Epstein could now do his assault. Annie was later to tell the court that Ghislaine and Epstein worked as a couple. All this was before the 2006 arrest of Epstein, and while he served his 13 months in prison, Ghislaine continued to work in his properties and kept ties with him because of her loyalty for the goodness Epstein showed her when her father died. How thoughtful of her. She picked race when attention turned to her after Epstein died in prison and ran to Hampshire, where she continued to live a life of privilege in a remote estate while her victims suffered trauma. It seemed no one could find her for 1 year, but she was eventually tracked and the estate was raided by the FBI. It was reported that she had refused to answer the door until they broke it down and grabbed her. Hers was a high-profile case too, and was found guilty of 5 federal charges. Ghislaine eventually earned a 20-year jail sentence and a fine of $750,000. Nathan, the jury, described her offenses as heinous and predatory as she sentenced her to a term that exceeded her maximum sentencing guideline of up to 19 years and 8 months. Next on the line is Alan Dershowitz. In the bombshell revelation, the document revealed Alan Dershowitz, a Harvard law professor, has had sexual relations with numerous minors on many occasions at Epstein's massage. One of them was Jane Doe, forced on different occasions by Epstein to have sexual relations with Alan, not just in Florida, but also in private jets while on air in New York, Mexico, and everywhere Epstein ever lived. Alan also saw the abuse of other young girls but remained quiet and a very close friend of Epstein. Being a specialized attorney in criminal law, he would later play a major role in defending Epstein. So Alan was many things to Epstein: customer, friend, attorney.
Did you ever see Mr. Epstein with underage girls?
No. Oh, no. If I had ever seen Jeffrey Epstein in any inappropriate situation with an underage girl, I would have terminated my relationship and turned him in. No way.
He was a major aid and abet person to Epstein, as he was able to negotiate and reach agreements that gave Epstein immunity from federal prosecution in the Southern District of Florida, not only to Epstein, but also to any potential co-conspirators of Epstein. He did not leave himself out. He also negotiated immunity for prosecution over the abuse of Jane Doe. Because this broad immunity would spark controversy should it become public, Alan led Epstein's defense team and the government tried to keep the immunity provision secret from all of Epstein's victims and the general public, knowing fully well that such secrecy violated the Crime Victims' Rights Act. This gave him the bravery to request that all documents be released, calling the judge unfair and reassuring him that the document would reveal he had an innocent friendship with Epstein, believing these hidden secrets wouldn't be among them. Well, he got a shocker, because no stone was left unturned. But we can't expect him to agree, you know. He still denied all accusations, maintaining that he was just a lawyer to Epstein. For some, his defense of Epstein is a reminder of the way the American legal system continues to favor powerful men who can pay high-profile attorneys. But Dershowitz sees himself as the wronged party, victimized by women who are lying about him, but determined to clear his name. Another last big name on the document is Bill Clinton. He was there because Epstein had reportedly said he likes them young. He was the biggest name mentioned in the document, and the report says his name was mentioned over 50 times. In an email to Churcher that appears in court filings, Jeffrey wrote that Clinton once walked into the Vanity Fair office and threatened them not to write sex trafficking articles about his good friend J.E. No information came further on this. Surprisingly, despite the damping rumors about Bill, he has not been charged with any case in particular. It's a wrap. Our pursuit of truth aligns with ethical standards, ensuring that the exposure of these revelations serves justice without compromising. Remember, behind every name and story, there are lives impacted, and our responsibility as informed citizens is to navigate these discussions with care and integrity. Stay vigilant and stay informed with our videos. See you in the next one.